Good morning, everyone out there. Yes, today is Morning Brew with Germaine, and it is Friday, Authors Brew Friday. So now, for all of you that are tuned in to the conversations on Morning Brew with Germaine, you know that today is Authors Brew Friday. Now, I've been talking all week since last week about this amazing men's anthology book. And guess what? They're here. They're here to talk about the stories. So it's not just me. You can actually hear it directly from them, what it is like being a man. So you guys have the opportunity to meet and engage with them today. So if you are here, listen, let me know what you're drinking, because I have my hazelnut coffee like I always have, with a little twist of Starbucks hot chocolate and some creamer in it, hazelnut creamer. But before we bring the men up today to really dive into their stories, I want to bring back Dr. Tenaria Drummond Smith, who is the visionary. She is the one that God dropped this seed in her spirit and gave her this vision to bring the men together. Even though when she brought this idea to me, the first thing I said was, listen, I tried this and it didn't work. Men aren't that easy to work with when it comes to sharing their stories. But you know what? I am so glad and I'm so thankful she decided to hold on to what she knew God told her to do. And she became obedient, and we were in it together. And guess what? 4 years later, the baby has been birthed. So let me bring her up, because I know she just want to really say some things to the men about their contributions. So Dr. T, let me get you up in studio with me. Hold on one second. Okay. Oh, that's everybody. A sneak peek, but I only want Dr. T. Hey, Charles, stay right there, Charles. Well, okay, Charles, we'll bring you back in. Dr. T.
Good morning. Praise the Lord, everybody. Everybody ought to praise the Lord. Good morning, Germaine.
Girl, we are celebrating, and yes, we are praising the Lord, because listen, talk about pregnancy, talk about being pregnant with this book for years. This book came right when it was supposed to come, right on time, and it came with the right people that were supposed to be a part of it. And you know what? Kudos to them. We are here to celebrate them for this amazing body of work that they have contributed to. And so, listen, I'm going to turn it over to you, because I know you want to say some things to them for helping to make your vision your reality. So, what do you have for them, Tenaria?
Well, all I like to say, I give God all the glory. I just personally want to thank all of the men who have believed in the vision that God has given me. I thank God for each and every one of them for being transparent with their stories. I personally want to thank my husband, Jeff Smith, who also is a part of this book. And I just can't wait to you all to read it. And I thank you, Germaine, for believing in me and just putting the book cover and everything, my vision together. I like to thank Charles as well for just pouring in out, just giving his blessing about the book as a man himself. And I'm just so grateful for what God has done. I'm glad that we had charted number 2 in the bestsellers list. And I just pray that all who read this book, that they will truly be blessed in reading it.
Absolutely. And for those that have already received their copies and more on the way, please make sure you go over to Amazon and give your reviews. Give your reviews, because it does matter. It does matter. And so, Charles, thank you so much. Now, for those, Charles has been on the show. He's a part of this show. It's because of him why Morning Brew is even here today. But Charles, I want to thank you so much. Being a two-time Emmy Award winning producer, I want to thank you for lending your voice also, for being a part of this vision that Dr. Tenaria has. She was like, listen, I need Charles. Can you get Charles to be in my book? Yes, absolutely. And so, and you said yes, and here we are. So thank
You know,
you. And we celebrate you too.
you're
Yes.
welcome. I appreciate it. As I take my teacup with my Prairie View A&M University uh, cup, I want to say thank you to you, Germaine, for your publishing company doing a great job. Dr. Tenera, thank you for creating a project to give men a voice, because a lot of times we're pushed into the shadows, or we're taught not to express ourselves in manners that are empowering or uplifting, because sometimes we just say, oh, we'll just let somebody else do it. But I think we're getting into a time now where I think men have to speak up and take their rightful place as leaders in the community, in the family, in the church, or wherever they are. And this is a good start, that men can now have a voice, and people can read about their stories and their struggles, their ups and downs, the good, the bad, and the ugly and everything. And I think it makes us more of a whole person. People don't see us as just as a provider. I think they see us as loving, caring, family-oriented people. And I think it's a good thing that this book is out. And I'm encouraging everybody to go and order a copy, pick up a copy, read a copy, listen to a copy, however you're going to get the information, because it's good for us to have voices out there, especially as Black men, because a lot of times we're told to be quiet, shut up, be in the corner, don't make waves. But there are times, like the late John Lewis said, we have to make good trouble. So we have to speak up and do the right thing, even when everybody else is doing the wrong thing.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. So listen, well, Dr. T, I thank you so much, because you were very adamant that you said, listen, I only have a few minutes. This platform is about the men today. So I just want to come bless them, and then I'm going to be out. That's what
Deuces.
you let me know.
I'm just excited to hear what they all have to say. So thank you once again, Germaine and Charles, for allowing me to be on this platform with you men.
Yes. Well, you know what? Why don't you hang out, but we'll bring them up. You'll still be in studio. So if I need to just click to bring you back in, you'll be right there. So don't leave. Okay. Okay. So, Charles, so let's start bringing them into the studio, because I have some questions. Okay, so we have Elton John, who is joining us. I'm pulling up well, I'll let them introduce their segments, their titles and stuff, because I really want them to talk about it. So, okay, we have John Butler in the middle. There's Dr. Look, I'm calling him already, speaking it into existence. Dr. Jeff. Okay, Jeff Smith, Dr. Tenaria's husband. I'm claiming it, Jeff. I'm claiming it. And we have Dr. Per Ankh, also Gabon, Siakabe. Am I saying that right? Listen, am I saying it right? Oh, hold on. We're getting his audio up. Let's get his audio up. All right. So we'll make sure it's not muted. But while we are working that out behind the scenes, getting his audio up, listen, I just want to say welcome, each and every one of you. I have to say, I'm so proud. I am so proud to be a part of this project, this vision. And I'm so thankful to Dr. Tenaria Drummond Smith for believing in knowing that HOVP can deliver another one of her bestsellers for her. And so, labor of love.
Well, Jermaine, I want to just say one thing before you get with the guys. I want to congratulate them, because a lot of times when you ask men to do something, they go, no, I'm not a writer. I'm not a speaker. I can't do that. That's not who I am. Let somebody else do it. But I want to congratulate all of you guys for not only starting the process, but completing the process. Somebody who's been in this space of mentoring young men as they journey into manhood. I congratulate all four of you guys, and that kind of thing. So that's all I'm going to say. I'm going to turn it over to you guys. And Jeff, take yourself off mute. And anybody that's on mute, Elton, take yourself off mute. And the show is you guys now.
Okay. All right. So everybody's off mute. All right. So listen, can I start out with, let me say this to those day oneers, because this has been a project since right after COVID, and John, I want to open up with you because your consistency, just being persistent, just believing and knowing this project was coming. And I tell you, you've outlasted you and Jeff. Well, I don't think Jeff had a choice because his wife, God gave the vision to his wife. But John, I definitely want to say thank you. Thank you for just seeing it all the way through to the end. And, Elton also, Elton is right there behind you for seeing it all the way through and believing that this project was going to manifest. And look at what it has done. So,
Thank you.
but now let me start with you. Okay, John, I'm going to start with you. What has this journey meant for you? And I want you to be able to introduce yourself and also introduce your chapter. Okay.
Well, my chapter is a healing journey. And so when I got when I got introduced or invited to write a chapter in the book, I it was 8 years prior that I found myself really, you know, drowning. You
Mm,
know, uh, here I am, a minister of the gospel, and now a chaplain with the Veterans Administration. I could say that I could talk theology with anybody. But when it came to my emotional state, I was very immature. And I had to look at my family of origin. So in the book, I touched on that a bit, my mom and my dad. And so when I got approached, I was already doing some writing because, I just had to stop stuffing it down. And so I found out so much about my family of origin. I even did a genealogy, and I found out what was going on with these individuals and the expectations I had with my culture and my family, and all that stuff was put upon me. It wrote my narrative for a long time. And I'm the type of person, if I see something wrong with me and I know what it is, I'm gonna find a way to get out of it. I'm gonna fix myself with God's help. So, the healing journey was something that for a period of time caused me a lot of shame.
mm,
But I knew that if I wrote about it, that it would start to bring about my healing on the inside, my soul and my mind. And I had suffered a lot of shame. But I don't know, I stuffed it down with work. I stuffed it down with work. And so when I became a chaplain, I had to deal with individuals. I ministered to individuals who, they've been in war and they suffered with post-traumatic stress disorder, military sexual trauma, drug addictions, and I carry their story around with me as well as my own story. And so writing my chapter, healing journey, really brought a rejoicing of my soul, a freedom, you know, that I never experienced in a long time. And I'm thankful that I had the opportunity to write that out, because if I didn't, I think I would have still been, drowning in, a societal narrative, also drowning in my emotions and everything else that was negative about my life at that time.
wow. Wow. Thank you so much for sharing. And you know what? Once people go in and they're able to really read the depth, you really opened up and you just laid it all out unapologetically. This is what the journey has been, what my experience, but this is how I took that and put it together and made it just power for someone else to be blessed by it. And that's exactly what people are going to take away from it. So Listen, are you guys okay with the sound? I did see, is the sound coming across okay? You guys having any issues, no issues or anything? Just want to make sure. Okay. Um, before I want to just shout out some people that are chiming into the comments already, if I can share with you all, and then I will bring up the next person in line. So over on Instagram, I want to say Bishop No Good joined. Thank you so much for chiming in to hear this powerful story, what it is like being a man and them being able to really share. And then we have Dr. Sophia Green. Thank you so much for the comments. And I'm going to try to pull them up on the screen as well as we are going through. Leslie George, thank you so much for chiming in. And we have Dr. Harriet Cabone. Yes, thank you so much for chiming in. And your book is coming out next week. We'll be having you back in studio with us. All right. So, but let's get into the next person. Elton, I'm going to call you up, okay? And all right. So, I want to be able to ask you a similar question. What has this journey meant for you in being able to say yes to coming up and laying it all out for everyone, the world, to be able to embrace your story?
Well, this journey for me, this has been really uh, a key moment in my life, as it's a really a fulfillment. It's a fulfillment of prophecy. And I just want to thank God for using Dr. Tinaria, because what God really did, he started with my wife, because my wife was part of the woman's anthology. And so that's how I get to know about this. And what it has done for me is allow me to tell my story because of the struggles that people face consistently, like identity, because my story is really about identity. And it's my chapter is What Am I? And what it has done for me is giving me the opportunity to reflect and to really show God's redemptive work so that others could see that if he can do it for me, then he can do it for them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so I listen, identity is a big area. That's a big area that I think a lot of people struggle with, but you were able to really tackle that for what it meant for you. Even the title itself, What Am I? It speaks to it already. So that's something, listen, I only want you guys to give a little insight, but I am requiring, and I'm going to put it in the chat so people can just click the link in the comments. They can click the link and they can literally go get their copy while we're live right now. Okay. All right. So I will bring you back up, but let's go into the next book. Okay. So we have Jeff Smith. Jeff, come on up. Let me bring you on up. Hold on. Let me see if I can do this. Look, let me see if I could just slide it over. All right. We're going to work it out. Up. Hold on. There we go. There we go. Jeff, how are you? I know you have been working tirelessly. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. Everything is one day at a time, 1 hour at a time. And
Amen.
I'm grateful that this project has come to fulfillment. And it's been a long time. I haven't realized how long it's been until you and my wife mention it. So then I
Mm-hmm.
think about the first conversation that was had. And then I do remember that it was during COVID because I remember being at work during one of the conversations and the workplace was empty. So that was a trigger for remembering just how long ago that
Yeah.
conversation took place. Yeah,
So your title, Standing Alone. Give us a little insight.
it is just that standing alone
It is.
in the face and against whatever it is that this world would tell a man how to be a man, despite the results of being a man, which is usually either in to a prison or into a grave or into prison, straight to a grave without any form of redemption. It's also about, even as John had mentioned before, about things that were thrown on me, particularly as a growing boy, as a young man, that made me uncomfortable. It's not anything about what it is as far as some gender expectations, but it is about how much I get to express myself as a man. So one of the things that I stress now, having come to a comfort level of knowing what kind of a man that I want to be and what kind of a man I refuse to be, just using as an example in my LinkedIn tag, it's about the call to be passionate, but also to be compassionate, to really believe in and trust in what it is that you want to do, knowing that if you're doing God's will, it will be fulfilled. But then you also cannot have a black heart about whatever it is that you intend to do, because God will not honor that. And then eventually, the same men who claim to honor it will dishonor you for the same thing. So that's what it means to know what it means about being a man. There is a level of hypocrisy that's involved with being a man. And you have to come to a point of knowing how much of that is going to build you up and how much more of that is going to actually tear you down and destroy you if you're not careful.
Wow. That's powerful. But I mean, how many men are living through that as we speak? That's why these stories are so relatable to people that are out there, because they help build you up, and it'll be the very people that tear you right back down. So you find yourself on an island by yourself. It's a
So
lonely journey.
part of that, I would also say, just from identifying in other men's stories, the common thread of childhood trauma, which is also part of my story.
Mm-hmm.
It's to varying degrees, but in all honesty, it's not where you necessarily get over the trauma. You have to learn how to work with it and how to work through it. But to this day, it's something that I still deal with in carving out my own manhood. So this portion of my manhood is not complete. It'll be complete when God calls me.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still pushing off things from my childhood, pushing off certain things that still come my way from people in my life that still have this expectation of what they want me to be versus who I want to be versus who God has called me to be. So my balance is shifting into where I want to be what God wants me to be and still be able to know who I am, as long as who I am doesn't unnecessarily offend people. Sometimes it might have to.
Yes.
And to be able to be comfortable and knowing, again, if I offend you for standing alone, it is because standing with you is hurting me.
Mm. Wow. Wow. Listen, we got more. I'm going to bring you back in so we can, because I'm going to bring everybody back up because I have more questions. So, but wow, that's powerful. All right. Let me bring up right now. Hold on. Bear with me, guys, trying to figure out. Okay. Let me bring up Per Let me bring you on. And we're going to talk about the same question. What inspired you to say yes to being a part of this project? And tell us your title. Oh, hold on. Let me make sure you're not on mute. Make sure your microphone, hold on. We want to, because we definitely want to hear his story. So let's make sure that your mic, if it's not your mic, your audio, either on the lower part of your screen, see if it's on mute, the little icon for the speaker down at the lower part, if it's on mute. Okay. Okay, so let's see. Hold on one second. While you're figuring that out, okay, because we definitely want to hear your story. So, but I want you to check your microphone levels just to make sure if it's your camera or if it's an extended camera that needs to make sure that it's not muted, or if you're using the camera on your laptop, making sure that the audio is not muted on your laptop, okay?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. All right, we got it. We got it. So let me ask the question again. What inspired you to share your story in this book?
Well, there were several things. Definitely wanting to write or begin to learn the art of writing and getting that message out there, kind of like a lot of the stories that I just heard now. So it's really good for me because, I mean, I haven't met these gentlemen. Jeff, I've heard about them over the years, but I haven't really met them. But I feel at home already with them. That much I can say already. So that was one thing. And then also kind of similar, growing up in Bushwick, Brooklyn, and other parts of New York. And then realizing once I got to college, I realized that there was a lot of people were wasting away unnecessarily. So if there's any way in which I can help someone or can give a message to the young men in specific, because right now there's a lot of focus on helping young ladies and women to develop. So this was a time for us to have our voices heard as well. So I'm very grateful to Dr. Teneri as well for that. So
Absolutely.
And
so
then
go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say one other thing too was when I was doing my doctorate degree, I was at Franklin University. I was doing it online, and then also being an older person and trying to keep up with everybody and raising a family, working and doing all that stuff like that. It was just very, very difficult. And one of the professors there started a dissertation association. So I became a part of that, and that just opened up a whole new world for me. I met people kind of similar to myself, other younger folks. I mean, it was just like a network for me. So I said I found my tribe. So for that, in that instance, even though I'm no longer in school there, that was my tribe. So I think it's something that really helps a lot if you can find people and look for good people who try to help you as well.
You know, I love the title because finding your tribe, I think that's something we're in search of every day of our life. Finding a sense of community, connectivity, a sense of belonging. And you definitely opened up in your chapter just really talking and speaking to that. But I know people along their journey, everybody wants to feel like they belong somewhere. You know, they fit somewhere. And you talked about it. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be blood related. And you never know where you may meet those people. You even opened up by saying this is the first time some of you are meeting one another, even though you've been a part of this book project. This is literally the first time you're meeting each other. And so, but you said you already feel that sense of belonging. It feels right. You know, your stories will forever be fused together in this book for the world to be able to experience it. So, whew, all right, I got some more questions. John, you ready for me? I'm going to bring John back up. John, so and this is a question I want to ask everyone. How has telling your story changed the way you see yourself or the way you show up in the world today? Because the one thing I've been saying after reading and going through your stories is that you guys just left everything on the pages in this book. You didn't hold anything back. And it just showed so much strength, even strength and vulnerability. But it really shows the heart that you have to want to really help someone that's going to pick up this book and read it. So let me bring you up, John, okay? I might need to unmute you. Hold on. Go ahead.
What was the question again?
So, how has telling your story changed the way you see yourself or the way you show up in the world today?
Well, I have more self-compassion on myself.
Mm.
I take it easy on myself.
You give yourself some grace?
A whole lot of grace
Okay.
each and every day. Uh, I learned that being vulnerable is not a sign of weakness, but rather strength
Absolutely.
in a safe place. And how I show up in the world, as I said, I'm a chaplain at the Veterans Administration,
Mm-hmm.
and my area of concentration where I really serve at the duty station is mental health and addictions. And I see young men every day just coming home. They've been in Afghanistan, they've been in Iraq, in every different places like that, young men. And I have compassion on them. And my goal, my strategy is not to do any harm, not to do any harm, and to let them say what is true for them. Let them speak their truth, and also as walk with them as much as I can in their suffering in a non-judgmental way. And that's what everybody. That's what everybody. Even my church people. In my community, I see just I show up with compassion, listening. Trying to understand, not judging, because it's not my place to judge.
That's right.
And when I do that, I believe that I'm coming from a safe place when I listen and I respond. So those this book has allowed me to really embody what I truly believe about the God that I serve and who lives in me.
Absolutely. Wow. So I can imagine right now what you may be experiencing with what's even happening in the military today. And the stories that you guys are even sharing amongst each other in the space that you're in right now. I can only imagine what they're going through or just dealing with.
Yeah, they are. They're trying to get their life back on track, but for the last sometimes 4, 6, or even depending on how many deployments they've had, now they're trying to take their power back. And I
Yes,
realized that writing this book was a way of taking my power back.
absolutely.
And so they're trying to take their power back because for whatever time they spent in the military, they had no power. And they're asked to get their lives together by their families and by their community. And the Veterans Administration does as much as they can. They do as much as they can. We have some very dedicated clinicians, nurses, doctors, despite what's going on. They're dedicated to the healing of our veterans. But at the same time, I encourage them to go a little deeper, take advantage of the services. And when I introduce myself, I say, I'm your chaplain, not just the chaplain. They
Yes.
can be from any religious tradition. They don't have to be a Christian. They can be Muslim. They can be Jewish. They could be none at all. But what I try to do is just what I said. I use my pastoral strategy of doing no harm, doing no
Yeah.
harm.
Wow. Well, thank you for your service and thank you for your service even to them. And you are in such a
Thank you.
special place to really help them. You said something to take your power back, to be able to help them probably start writing and journaling their story. Because I'm quite sure you said it, as you begin to write your story, you took your power back by sharing your story. Think
Yes.
about all of them doing the same thing, taking their power back through their story. Yeah.
Mhm.
Thanks, Sophia. I see that, Dr. Sophia, voice of the people, compassion. Yes. All right. So let me real quick. I just got another one of you guys co-authors that just chimed in. We have Murdoch McCormick. I'm going to bring him up real quick in the studio so he can also share a little bit about what inspired him. Hold on one second. All right. So listen, I'm going to pull you in. Look, Murdoch, I'm going to pull you in. Thank you so much for chiming in. Let me go ahead and let me find your image. So hold on one second so I can pull you up into the studio. Okay.
Okay.
All right. There we go. Okay.
Hey.
Hello.
Gentlemen, how y'all doing? Can y'all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you clearly. Oh. So this is another one of you guys co-authors that's a part of this dynamic, powerful book. Murdoch, I'm going to bring you in. So I'm going to isolate your shot so you can tell us a little bit about what inspired you to be a part of this book, what it's like to being a man. So give me a second. Let me pull you up. Go ahead. Look, spotlight's on you right now.
Yeah, I see. Thank you. The people that know me, you know what I mean, the closest, they know my story. But I guess I was just looking to provide some insight into the different things that I experienced growing up as a child and the influences that I had growing up, the positive and negative, that turned me into who I am today. And the interesting thing is, like, I wrote this like 3 years ago. So when the edit came back, I got to the point where I felt like I was rewriting it because my perspective 3 years ago has changed from then to today. Well, at the time when I got the edit back. And I had to stop. I was like, let me just not and just give it back because it's going to be a whole other story at this point. I was adding stuff and like, oh, I could have added this. I can add this. I can add that. So I don't know. Just not to get off topic, but I've never been somebody that hid how I felt, you know. Gentlemen, you may attest to this too. A lot of men, you know, we're, you know, taught to, in some form of fashion, not express ourselves in terms of how we feel. Yes. We tend to hold a lot of things in, where by and large women don't. Now, there are some men that got diarrhea of the mouth and they just, you know, they say whatever. But by and large, a lot of us are taught not to expose certain things that may have, you know, and a lot of times, depending on you and how you grew up, you may not even know that certain things that you experienced as a young man or a child affects how you are as a grown-up, particularly when it comes to relationships with women, with men, with, you know. So I just never had that problem. Like, my parents always taught me, speak your mind, but there's a time and a place to do that. So when I got this opportunity, I just felt like, okay, sure.
Exactly. So. And your story is a little bit of Doc's story. And it's forever evolving. Just like you said, we talked earlier before you chimed in, is that this has been a 4-year project, you know, being pregnant with this project. So you're definitely not who you are today versus who you were back then. But it's incredible because the people that's being introduced to your story are getting to meet you right now, which means you have more of your story to share with the world. Now they've been exposed to this part of your story.
Yeah. Yeah. And I wasn't, when I was writing it, I wasn't sure like how much I should write, because I only wrote up to me leaving Richmond for college. So I didn't even put college in there. I didn't put after college in there. I didn't
so we leave that for you because remember, This is an anthology book, so it's only a chapter, but you gave people enough to say, I want to hear more.
Oh, hopefully.
Which means now that charges you to write your full story.
Yeah.
But
I actually appreciate it. I do. I appreciate the opportunity because I never thought of doing something like this. So I appreciate it.
Wow. Yes, I tell you, you said something also when you addressed the men that you're right. Men hold things near and dear to their heart. I shared in the opening that I had attempted to do this years ago, way before COVID, with another group of men. And the thing that I realized was you want to hear their stories, but men are so much more guarded with their stories and maybe the traumas that they have gone through in their lives. So that's why I think I am so thankful, because the way you guys literally, you guys just took a blank canvas and begin to spill over, and the words just came out. And so I'm so thankful that you guys took the opportunity to do that so the world could really hear your hearts. So I'm going to bring up so we can talk to Elton. I'm going to bring you back up on set so you can also tell us about just answering the question right now. Since releasing your story, and I know it's fairly early, but how has telling your story changed the way you see yourself?
Well, telling my story has allowed me to really, first of all, reflect and to really organize my thoughts and sequence of events in my life and what I learned from it. Because up until that time, I just had my experiences and everything just in my head. Never really put pen to paper to really write in a way that someone could benefit from it, like organizing it. And so it has allowed me to see myself as a person who is able to help others because I work in the school system. And being working in the school system, I see a lot of young men who have different identity issues, and telling my story has allowed me to see myself as someone who can be that person who can give a suggestion that, it's not the end. Because someone needs, I might be that person because not everybody has access to a community that will be able to lead them to safety. So telling my story has allowed me that opportunity to reflect and to be grateful for how far I am now compared to back then.
That's, thank you for saying that, because you don't realize how much, hold on, let me see. You don't realize how much you can be such an inspiration to so many people that are watching you that you don't even realize is paying attention. And so to be able to share your story, and you guys, when I say sharing your story, this book is not just locally, this book is literally been distributed globally. And so people around the world will be able to engage in your story, and you'll be able to now physically have something that can outlive all of us, that becomes part of your legacy, is having a part of your story shared in this anthology book. So I hope this book really inspires and encourages you to allow your voices to really be heard. Don't stop right at this book, begin to share your full entire story if that's what's on your heart to do, because I think people need to really know that they can make it, they can go through some of the things that you've expressed in this book and find the strength to know it's okay. It's okay. And sometimes it's okay to release the things that we hold on to so tightly, especially as men, that it's okay that you can share the power of your story. with others and find strength in it, and have others find strength in it. But I want to ask that question, Jeff, if it's okay, I want to bring you in, and I want to ask you that question also, since you've released your story, because for some of you, this may be the first time that you have really allowed these stories to be heard on this level. What does that mean for you, since releasing your story?
The full truth of that is that after writing that story, it didn't change me one bit, because if there's anyone who knows me well enough, they know that I speak of it all the time.
Good.
And there's a key point in my life where I began to realize, or at least it was the beginning of me realizing who I was versus what people were telling me who I needed to be, or who I was at that time. That was when I was 17 years old. That was the first time that I had left home alone, when I went to University of Maryland to get away from home and the things that I was living around when I was in Crown Heights, Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
So when I went to Maryland, when I began to see what I was like by myself, without anybody coaching me and feeding things into my ears and into my mind, I came back a different person after 1 year. I mean, it was only 1 year that I was there. A D average doesn't help to keep you there in school, but um, I came back a changed person after 1 year. I began to change, not only about who I was, I also began to change in who I saw people to be.
Mm-hmm.
So after writing, all it did was reinforce everything that I had come to know up to this point. So it didn't change me. It just reinforced me.
Okay. That's good to know, because this is something that has played over and over and over. It's been a part of your journey your entire life. You've identified early on a lot of what you talk about in your book, in your chapter. So that is great. But let me tell you, you probably have run into some men that it may not be the same story for them, being able to really tell their story, and some of the men even today that we're talking with, exposing your story for the first time. So let me bring up Dr. Peran Kodan, because I'm going to bring you up real quick, and I'm going to ask you the same question. Let's see. Got it. I'm going to ask you the same question. So how has telling your story changed the way you see yourself and the way you show up in the world today?
Well, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I would say, just even like with the way this meeting started just now, the way that I observe and look at people from a more positive perspective, I think that's something now that I'm beginning to realize, because as I spoke about it, and then I thought about it, I said, you know what, that was me looking at someone or the brothers that are here, and then coming to an immediate conclusion. I would say probably years in the past, it would have probably been all focused on something negative, trying to find all of the issues and the problems and things like that. So I try to focus more on the positive that are in that are in people. And if there is a lot of negativity, then I already know that that's not a place where I need to be. So
that's powerful what you just said. I always tend to talk about guarding your space. We don't have to put ourselves in a line of fire, right? We can pick and choose what we allow in our space, especially if you are protecting your peace, which is so rare, but is so necessary. So thank you for sharing that it's okay to tell people, not here. This is not a place that you can enter into with that type of energy. So, but I do, let me bring up, hold on one second. I want to bring up Murdoch. I want to bring you up to ask you, the same question. So let me pull you into. All right. So I want to ask you the same question with what how has things changed since you released it? And I know you mentioned earlier that you wrote this a few years ago because you were early on a part of this journey too in the second stream, of men that have joined to be on this project. But just telling your story, the parts that you have told, how has that affected the way you see yourself today?
I know that I would write it completely different today. If I had
And why do you say that though? Because that's still what you wrote back then is still a part of your journey.
no,
But
definitely. But it's
mhm,
just my perspective from 3 years ago was just different.
that's good.
For instance, just this Easter Sunday, right?
Hmm.
The pastor's message has now not something that I hadn't heard before, right? So the premise roughly is don't bring old bones from yesterday into today. So you know the story where the two Marys came to the tomb looking for a dead body, but
Hmm.
he wasn't there. He had risen, right?
Hmm.
So in the past, I can say that I have tended to, and this isn't with everyone. It's I guess, and not every situation, but how can I put it? Like I would say maybe my expectations are too high, and when they aren't met, then I may look at this particular person. I'm speaking from a perspective of your
Yeah.
relationship with people. So I may look at someone and be like, "Oh, I remember you said this," or "I remember you said that." Now, again, like I said, this is probably between 3 years ago and up to now. Whereas
Okay.
now I'm more like, you know, I got to meet you where you are because you're not me. I'm not you. My experiences are not your experiences. So Malcolm X even said it. Sometimes you got to meet people where they are
That's
because
right.
you're not the same as you were probably possibly yesterday. So yeah, a good comment. So somebody just popped a comment in there. And
Yep.
so it's hard when you take something from yesterday and try to bring it into today when today is brand new. Like nothing that existed yesterday exists today. Like nothing even exists in this moment that existed an hour ago. So it's
Yeah.
just
We're forever
um
evolving. We're
yeah.
forever evolving, and our story is constantly changing, you know? But you said something that made me think, trying to pour new wine into old wineskin. It just won't work.
Right.
And that just shows a level, even as you're talking right now, and your story is around you, your story, even your title, um, is around pretty much your evolution. So you pretty much set this book up for people to really engage in knowing you now. You have some writing to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You have some writing to do. But thank you so much. So I want to take a few moments and I want to make the book available to everyone. Let me just pull this up on the screen real quick. I'm going to put in the comments also how people can purchase a copy of this amazing book. So let me share this now. This has number 3, but you guys have come all the way to number 2. And hopefully after today, after people really have an opportunity to meet you, to hear your stories, to engage in conversation with you during this podcast today, hopefully people will help push it to number 1. But right now, the book is available. I am putting the links to make it easy for everyone. If you have not purchased your copy, all you have to do is click the link in the comments. That's it. I made it easy for you. Click the links in the comments. Go and purchase your copy of What It Is Like Being a Man. And the one beautiful thing about this is if it's not for you, it's definitely for someone that you may be connected to. Okay. So, ladies, I'm calling on you because I know you have men in your life that can definitely be inspired and encouraged through the powerful stories that have literally come together in this anthology book. So, please make sure you click the link, purchase a copy, share it, give it as a gift, just because I love you. I want to share these stories with you, right? So, all right, I have one question that's going to just wrap it all up that I want to hear from each one of you if you bear with me. Thank you. All right, so this is my final question to each and every one of you. And one, I want to thank you all again. I want to thank you all again for making time on a Friday, 10:30 a.m. in the morning to show up for Morning Brew, have conversations, and engage everyone in your story. So this is my final question. John, is it okay for me to lead with you? Let me lead with you, John. Hold on. Let me make this happen so we can All right, John, I'm going to pull you in. And this is the question that I have for everyone to start thinking about. What was there anything difficult about being this open? And why was it still important for you to share your story? Oh, let me unmute you. I'm sorry. Hold on. All right, John, go ahead.
Well, first of all, I just want to, congratulate everyone who participated in the book, and to commend you on your bravery and courage,
Yes.
sharing your stories. It's a very rare thing for a man to share all his vulnerabilities and hurts. But for me, I had to write it because it was like I was bleeding out. It was a way for me to continue to thrive, in my life, and with hopes of somebody would pick up this book and say, "Hey, it's all right not to be all right." And I'm hoping that my kids, I have 12 grandchildren, and the next book that I'm writing, they can pick up this book and say, "Hey, this was Pop.
Absolutely.
Flaws and all." That they could be blessed by it, and they would know that you can survive, you can thrive. God is the same yesterday, today, and forevermore.
Absolutely.
And I'm not so, how could I say, religious. I'm not so religious any longer. I was before because I was trying to hide behind that. So I can come out in the open now without being ashamed. I don't have to tell my story to everyone, only if it's a safe place. But I can share my story about trauma and how to work with that and move through that and being able to thrive in the midst of that. So it's all right not to be all right, and God doesn't waste anything.
That's powerful. You said something that really resonated also with me. It's easier, we think, by hiding behind, not exposing, that we're safe. But when you begin to expose, you found your power. You found there was more power even in that. And you took your power back by you telling your own story. And then you leave a legacy for your grandchildren, for their children. They get to know Pop through your words, not someone telling your story. So thank you so much.
I just want to say this.
Go ahead.
I had spoke to Dr. Tenaria about maybe connecting with you men. I have a weekly radio program on Timeless Gospel Radio, and maybe you could share some of your chapters over the radio.
Absolutely.
Every Thursday. And I'm pretty sure my listeners would like to hear this.
Oh, I'm pretty sure they would. So we'll definitely coordinate that and give
Yeah.
each of the men an opportunity to definitely be a part of your vision to really spread the story,
Yes.
the
Yeah.
message out. So absolutely. And thank you so much for sharing that, because that's what it's about. And if there's anyone out there that's listening, listen, I'm going to put it out there for them. They'll be available. I'm quite sure they want to share their story with the world. So, so let me bring up Elton to be able to ask the same question. Hold on. Okay. All right, here we go. Elton, you ready for me?
Yes.
All right, then. So you need me to ask the question again?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So the question is for everyone to think about, their answers also. But the question is, where was there anything difficult about being this open, and why was it still important for you to share?
Yes, it was difficult because when I think about the fact that these are things that I carried for years, these are things that I have moved on somewhat from, and the fact that there are people in my circle who just know none of that about
Mm,
me because I was able to even, be amongst them and be very calm. They've seen me at a better place than where I was.
yes.
But I was like, no, I need to share because there is someone who could find comfort. Like, because there are some men, they wouldn't necessarily come to an open forum to hear this, but they will buy a book and they will read it and they can receive some sort of healing for themselves just by
Mm,
reading a book. So I had to not be selfish and I had to say what God has done for me because I mean, there are people who met me and they cannot believe what I went through because me today, they don't even, it's like they want to know if it's really real for real. But I think it is important to share this so that people wouldn't give up in life thinking that, oh, it's the end, because they can have a beautiful ending to their story. And there is a community of people out there who are willing to share what they've been through. So I'm really grateful for the opportunity because even the whole title of the work, right? I never really thought about it that way.
exactly.
I was just thinking about my life, but didn't realize, wait a minute, this is what it's like being a man in my own particular realm of existence compared, and everybody has their own life. But for me, this is what it was like being a man. And I am so grateful for the opportunity.
Well, I just want to thank Dr. Tenaria for her obedience, for just what God dropped in her spirit and how God used her to be able to bring this book to life. And when she first came to me about even the women's book, What It's Like Being a Woman, but when she bought it back, What It's Like Being a Man, you would think that it's such an open-ended question. And it's almost like, what do you mean? What is it like being a man? I'm a man, right? What is it like being a man? So, but you just said something, Elton, is that it makes you stop and think for a moment. And each and every one of you have different stories answering that same question. And so let me bring Jeff Smith up, because your wife, I tell you, what a jewel. And let me open up. Okay. What a jewel that you have really allowed to just allow her to just operate in her gifts. And to, when I say allowed, that might be the wrong word, but just partnering and seeing who she is and letting her be an expression of who she is and pushing her forward, because this is a powerful work that God has given her to do. and even her taking the back seat to it, to allow all of the men to just let the light shine so on you. I mean, let me ask you the question, because you know, you go through the labor pains and everything like she goes through them. So let me ask you,
I do.
Your journey, was it difficult just being so open? And I know you kind of touch base on this question, that this has been a part of your life, but looking at it, because you're in the same space with your wife as God has given this to her, and then helping her to pray and birth these things out, what has this whole experience been for you?
So because my story is about standing alone for me means that I am going to be all that God allows me to be, which means that I wear my heart on my sleeve.
Mm-hmm.
When I care, I care. So it's about learning to care, not in a selfish way, but learning to care for and about myself, despite things that have come my way from people, whether they were well intentioned or not. So
Mm-hmm.
in writing the story, within 5 minutes, thinking about some deep childhood pain, I put it at age 9. 5 minutes into writing, I had to stop because I was crying the way I was when I was 9 years old.
You went back to that child.
Yeah,
Wow.
that was probably the deepest pain I'd ever known as a child, and I speak it freely. I did not enjoy my childhood,
Mm-hmm.
but the thing that I appreciated is that having grown up in a way, not completely, is that God has allowed me to have a second childhood under His watch,
Mm.
so that when people speak about the things that they miss from their childhood, I miss nothing. I'm enjoying my new childhood right now
Yeah.
as a grown man. And that it was something that was asked earlier as other men were answering the question. I realized there was a point that I missed as far as anything that had changed me. So that point would be this. It hadn't changed me in writing the story, but what has happened, and I mean very recently, I mean like within the past few weeks, is that I've asked God to reveal and heal any unknown childhood trauma that I have,
That's
because
powerful.
this is still a story about evolving as a human being and evolving as a man with all the gender expectations that men, I won't say get guided into, they get shoved into in many ways. But this is a work for God and God alone to be able
Yeah.
to expose to me and to heal me from whatever it is that I don't even know that I might find myself reacting to as a grown man. Where if I react to certain things a certain way and it causes damage to another human being, then that's reason to have me to pay attention to it.
Wow. Wow, that's powerful, Jeff. Just the acknowledgement, but knowing the God that we serve, dying to oneself to live again in Him is everything, you know, and you're not defined by what you've gone through. So,
I mean, it does define you, but it's about every man being careful that whatever it is that has helped to define us and shape us does not move us out of the will of God.
amen. Amen.
So that even when we have experienced pain, to know whether God had a purpose in it and for it to be used for God's purpose, and then for everything else to be subjected to deliverance.
Wow. I tell you, this is what people are going to find in this book. The total transparency that you all put forth in your stories. I can't express it enough that it's rare that men do this. So I just appreciate each and every one of you so much for really being able to expose your hearts and leave it there for the world to see it. Elton, one thing you said also, just in the circles that you're in, people know you, but they don't know you. And you decided to share you. And you know what's sad is because people have opinions, people will judge based on where they are, looking at your story, but they'll miss the power in what you've just done to help even set someone else free. Because that's literally what I believe you all did. I mean, in exposing your truths, you set yourself free from any type of bondage that anyone can hold over you. You took your power back to share your story. Let me bring up Dr. Perunk. I'm going to bring you into the conversation for you to be able to, there we go, to really ask the same question. And the question is, was there any difficulties in you being so open in your story, and why was it still important for you to share it?
So I would say the answer for that is yes. And before I continue on, I want to also thank again Dr. Tenaria Drummond Smith and also Brother Jeff Smith for all the work that they've put into building this venture and their ministry. Very appreciative of it. It's definitely a growing and a learning experience. And with that, I would say when I wrote my chapter, one of the things that also comes to mind is the fact that I have had women who have mentored me and I've had men who have mentored me. And I wanted for men to understand that it's how they relate to everyone, whether they be male or female or whatever. There's a process. Maybe they can be a little more systematic about it, but it helped me to understand that yes, I've been helped, and we're not even going to go into our mothers and our grandmothers and everything else, which I did kind of mention, but just in life itself, because a lot of times you'll hear comments from people or men in general about the inability of a woman to do certain things just because of the fact that she's a woman. And that may not necessarily be true, but it also may be that that person still has something to bless you with, or something that they have to offer that can help you to reach your journey and to get to where it is that you want to go. So, and then I would say also another thing was it was just, really just opening up. Like, I know it's like very common that we're hearing that today, but it's a very, very difficult thing. I can tell you right now, men do not generally open up to each other. It's very rare that we even open up to our family members. I'm the type of person who's always felt like, you don't discuss your thoughts and how you think and how you process information and stuff like that, because it makes you a much more predictable person. And if you're a predictable person, if someone is out to manipulate you or do you wrong or something like that, then you're kind of putting yourself at a disadvantage, or as the term would be, is in a position of vulnerability. So for me to just, even though I'm not telling someone directly, but to put it in a book and then actually be speaking about it now, and knowing that other people are going to read it, that was a challenge. And I would say I know I expressed how I was enjoying the co-authors here, or the other contributors to the anthology. And what I realized too is some of us may have some things in common, but the beauty of it is that we don't. And all of our experiences are very, very, very diverse. And so my message for that would be to women and men is to just understand that we are very complex beings. Don't let somebody tell you, oh, well, men are like this or men are like that. No, we are much more than you can even imagine.
And that's coming from a man. It's not easy, but I mean, I'm so proud of you all, each and every one of you. And that is so genuinely sincere when I think about this body of work. And you know what? And I even understand why it did not come out sooner. Timing is everything. And it is so on time. This book is so on time, because if it had come out any earlier than now, some of you wouldn't have even been in it to share your stories. And it's been your stories to help complete it. So thank you. Yeah. Thank you to each and every one of you for being you.
I was going to say too that you can learn from a man can learn from a woman, or another man, vice versa. And also the good blessing about this is, and you mentioned my wife, that she has a book that's coming out soon.
Yes.
Is that you can also learn from a couple. So if I look at Dr. Tenaria and I look at Jeff, I don't know all the particulars about what they're doing, but I know that they're doing something. I know that they're working together. So they are role models for me too.
Yeah. Jeff, he is all up in the business, huh? Because you know his wife is already on it. So, yes, speak it into existence. But you are absolutely right. You are absolutely right. So, any last parting words? I'm going to bring up Murdoch also as he shares his sentiments on the same question. And then before we bring it to an end, I'll give you guys one last thought that you can leave with your audience. So think about that, okay? Let me bring Murdoch up real quick. Did you want to say anything else pertaining to that question? Because you really just laid it out there for us. Dr. Perank, you're good? You want to say anything else pertaining to?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Because you really laid it out there for us. And then you spoke some things into existence that will soon be coming. Yes, the Smiths. Already in the lab, right? All right, let me bring Murdoch up to ask him the same question. All right, Murdoch. Let me ask you the question. I'll repeat the question again, okay? Was there anything difficult? And I know based on just you sharing today, I know there's so much more in you, because you've let us know you are not the person that you were. But I know that whoever reads your story will find themselves right in that place for what you've written. And now to be able to follow your journey, to just see how one can evolve. I don't even know if you understand. It wasn't by mistake, that, and I'm so glad when you got your edits, you did not alter a whole new story. Because I know that's what your thoughts were.
Yeah.
It was by design and it was by purpose. Because think about those out there right now that may be following a journey and they encounter your story that they read in this book, to see themselves and then be able to see, well, what is he up to now? To see another, they're now able to meet a new version of you that will inspire them. So, okay. So the question is, was there anything difficult about you being this open, and why was it still important for you to share it?
So just how honest I was going to be. I was honest, But, you know, like my dad used to always say, you don't let your left hand know what your right hand doing. So I wasn't as honest as I could have been. So when I told my mom and my dad about it, and when I told them recently that it had came out, they were happy. Of course, they was, proud. Of course I was. And my mom asked me something interesting.
That's a mom for you, huh?
She said, you didn't make us look too bad, did you? I was like, no. And so that's what I meant by when I started writing, I was like, I can't put this. I can't put that. I can't put this. I can't share that. So that was probably the most difficult thing. Like, how honest was I really going to be? But I mean, I would say I was maybe, if I had to put it on a scale, maybe like 80%.
You told your story. You told your story in a way, but you also considered others. Listen, that's the beauty in when you are writing your story. It's up to you how much you're going to share of your story. Now, some people will strip all the way down, but that's not saying that everybody has to do that. You give parts of it that you feel led to give. And that's what you did. So each and every one today, I know there's more to come from each and every one of you. Now it's almost like I feel like I've been exposed to the world right now by sharing these stories. And so here you are. Each and every one of you now have an opportunity to dig a little deeper and allow your story, the power of your story, to be heard. And God only knows where it will take you. But I know there are people that's probably waiting on it. Yeah. And as you can see, it's showing up now. People are definitely supporting, they're buying. And I'm looking for number one. So once again, I'm going to say this again. Let me put this up on the screen before we do a final thought. But the book is available. Help this book become number one Amazon bestseller. The link is in the comments. All you have to do is click on it. All you have to do is click on it. And to those, I want to say hello, Calvin White, who's joined over on Instagram. Thank you so much for being a part of the conversation. Sophia, Dr. Sophia Green, just beautiful comments. And for those that have chimed in, Dr. Harriet Gabon, thank you so much. Shamika Drummond, thank you so much. For those, I probably don't get to everybody, but Leslie, thank you so much, guys, for really joining in the conversation. And so right now, make sure you go and get your copy. It is waiting on you. Okay. All right. So, but let me bring this back in, because what I want to say, I want to pull everybody back up on the screen that's still here with us. Listen, any final thoughts before we go? So who wants to start? Any final thoughts to leave with those out there that may get the book, or just a thought that's on your heart to share? Okay. Y'all want me to call?
I got something.
Go ahead, Jeff. No. Okay, we'll start with Jeff, and then we'll go to Dr. Per-Ankh. Okay.
All right, go ahead, Jeff.
So thank you, Dr. Per-Ankh. So from reading through stories, aside from writing my own, and reading many other stories, that the exposure of truth can be very painful, but it is necessary for healing, but that it can also, under God's watch, expose who your friends and your enemies are.
Whew. That is so true. Be watchful, right? Dr. Per-Ankh, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't think ever I was in a position. I mean, I'm an educator. I've worked in schools and in other environments where I'm responsible for other people. And I don't think I've ever really had a message that was tailored specifically towards men and their personal or spiritual development. So that definitely is something new for me. And it has me thinking a little more. And I think I have more that I could probably offer. I guess all of us do, since we're a little bit up there in age, with the exception of maybe think it's Elton or something, but it's been a pleasure. So I'm enjoying it. Thank you.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
I would say when you forgive someone, you don't forgive them for them, you forgive them for yourself. Because a lot of times, whoever you're harboring something against, they don't even know that you're harboring anything toward them. This is just my experience.
You said a mouthful.
And so I know there are men now, one particular man in his 70s is harboring ill feelings about his own father, who was in his 90s, and he just can't let it go. And it's affecting not only himself and his health, but his relationship with other people. So, this is something that I think I thought about it as a kid. Like I felt some kind of way about my father. And I had to come to the realization after talking to other men that I met in college that everybody's different. Everybody grows up different. Everybody experiences different things that, where they make decisions based off of those things. And I had to make a conscious decision to forgive him, and our relationship from that point has improved tremendously. And when I was young, I felt like if I can forgive my father, I can forgive anybody. Yeah. So I did it for me. I didn't do it for him. I did it for me because I have 3 children now, and I think about it every day. What if I had not done that? What would my kids' relationship be with my father?
Wow.
But my relationship be with my father. So
it's definitely something to think about.
And what if God didn't forgive us? Who would we be? Where would we be?
Lost.
This has brought new life in terms of the word that says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not to your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him and he shall direct your path. Now, this whole project, like I couldn't conceive the path to take to share my story. And I didn't imagine that this would be the way God will direct my path. So if there's anything I could leave with anyone out there who's listening, is that it's good to put your trust in God and not lean on your own understanding. Sharing your story is part of the process of not leaning on your own understanding. Because at the end of the day, there's someone out there who is desperately needing your story. And I would encourage everyone to just read this work because you never know what it might unlock for you. And sometimes it's not for you, but it could be something you can gain to help others. And that's what I have to say. So
absolutely.
Go on.
Thank you. Thank you, each and every one of you, just for those final thoughts. I want to just say, as we bring this to a close, that this conversation isn't just the beginning. These stories, they matter. The voices, they matter. And creating space for truth and understanding, that matters as well. And that's what each and every one of you have allowed the audience to really be able to experience today. So today's conversations, look, it spoke to staying connected, share this conversation with others. Please, I'm quite sure for those that may not have been in on the live, that may view this later on, days later, find the power in it and think about that person. I want you to think about that person after hearing their stories that could definitely be inspired and encouraged by listening to their stories. So make sure you share the link. You can go right over into my YouTube, Morning Brew with Germaine, and you can be able to listen. You might as well just click the notifications so you can know when different shows are coming, but also just follow us so you can share these stories with others. It is so necessary and it matters. It does matter. Somebody out there needs to hear what these gentlemen today have shared with us. And so remember, this book, it's a book, What It's Like Being a Man. You guys have really brought healing, awareness, growth, and truth to the stories that you shared with us, that others can literally walk away and feel empowered. So thank you once again for exposing your truths again. And I'm going to say it again. I'm going to say it again because I'm proud. I'm now looking for volume 2, Dr. Tenaria. So, but if I could say anything to you all, write your full stories. Let the power of your stories be heard. The world needs to hear. The world wants to hear. There's people waiting on it. So let's see in the comments. I want to say thank you for all the comments. And Dr. Sophia, she says, keep our hearts tender, Lord, as your heart was tender with us as sinners. Amen. Let me just put that up on the screen for those that are going to see this afterwards. Amen. So, guys, on that note, I have held y'all long enough. I know y'all have busy days. Today is a Friday, and I know you guys have work to do, places to go, people to see. And you know what? Share this. Share your stories with someone else out there, okay? But I'm inspired. I'm encouraged, and I know you guys are. So continue to share your stories. And on that note, I'm going to say, have a wonderful day, guys. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right. On that note, thank you all out there for being a part of this conversation today, for really spending the time with us, allowing the men to have the space to really be able to share their stories. What a powerful, powerful book. What It Is Like Being a Man. It is in the comments. It is in the comments. So make sure you have an opportunity to leave a comment. If you already have your copy, please leave a comment on Amazon, as well as if you don't have your copy yet, make sure you go and purchase your copy, okay? So we are once again thankful. This has been Morning Brew with Germaine, Authors Brew Friday, and an opportunity to meet the men of the best-selling anthology book, What It Is Like Being a Man. So, guys, whatever you do, make sure you always take a moment to pour into purpose. Pour into purpose. Take a pause so you can pour into purpose, and be safe, whatever you decide to do today, okay? And spread some love. Share the message with someone that definitely can be empowered by it. Have a great day. Talk to you soon, and I'll see you back here on Monday. Bye-bye.